Hello, everybody. Thank you for taking the time today to join us for this webinar. Today, we are very excited to talk to you about the Trimble Business Center mining module. It's a module within TBC that caters specifically for the mining market. So as more people are joining the webinar, we're just going to pull up a quick poll. We would like to know what your primary role in the mining industry is and what aspects of TBC mining you are most interested in. So if you can just go ahead and scan the QR code for us. We'll also copy the link in the chat, and you can use your phone just to complete a short couple of questions for us, please. And we'll give it a minute or two to wait for responses. A couple of people from Namibia, Zimbabwe. Sorry about that. I saw a Canada in there as well, Kenya, which is good. So we're reaching a very wide audience today. Look at commodities, PGMs, gold. So it's quite a wide variety that we have today. And mostly survey, which is good. Some MRM and a couple of other. And then we've got our work cut out for us today. We've got most of the people interested in automatic stockpile extraction, slope conformity as well. So pretty good spread. Okay, so we'll go ahead and introduce ourselves. My name is Kobus Botha. I'm the Group Segment Manager for Optron. Part of my duties day-to-day is managing the Trimble Geospatial product portfolio. After I graduated with a National Diploma in Surveying from the Cape Technikon in 2001, I worked as a surveyor in the civil construction industry before joining Optron in 2009. I've been specializing in deformation monitoring and infrastructure since 2010, before taking up my current role at the end of last year. I'm excited to be joined today by my co-presenters from Trimble, Loden and Grieser. Will you please introduce yourself, Loden?
Yeah, thanks everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Loden Grieser. I'm a product manager of mining and monitoring here at Trimble, based in Westminster, Colorado. And so that's where I'll be presenting from today. My background is mining. So I actually spent the first 3 years of my life after graduating from university at a large-scale open pit copper operation in Arizona, the United States, with a company called Freeport-McMoRan at a mine called Morenci, Arizona. So very large-scale open pit that we were dealing with there, doing geology and then also doing mine engineering, since my degree is in both. And so after completing my time there, I actually went to go work for a company that you guys might be familiar with in your region called Datamine, so global mining software company, so based out of the United States, working with Datamine, such as Studio OP, Studio RM, Studio UG, and then Studio MPVS, and so the Studio platform there. And then after my time with Datamine, I joined Trimble here and really looking at everything that Trimble has to offer, right? So we've got a lot of different applications and things for surveying, but also for the construction industry and whatnot. And how do we make those things more mining specific, right? With my experience. And so that's what I'm here today, is to showcase to you TBC Mining Edition, mining module, and showcasing some of the tools that I think could be helpful for you guys out in the field or in the office too.
Thanks, Loden, and a warm welcome to you. Thanks for getting up so early to join us today. So we'll have a quick look at the agenda for today. Firstly, we'll do a short introduction to TBC mining. Then we'll have a look at why you should use TBC mining. At that point, Loden will take over and show us some of the workflows live in the software. And once he's done, we'll have a Q&A session to answer any questions that you might have. So let's take an in-depth look at the various capabilities within the Trimble Business Center mining ribbon in TBC. So the Trimble Business Center mining ribbon is designed to provide mining professionals with a comprehensive set of tools to tackle the most critical aspects of all their operations. From data collection and processing to geotechnical analysis and reporting, The ribbon ensures every workflow is supported with precision and efficiency. Let's take a closer look at the key functionalities it offers. Accurate survey data is the foundation of any mining project. TBC mining allows surveyors to perform site calibrations and work with accurate coordinate systems, ensuring that all mining operations are built on reliable data. Stockpiles are a key component of ore inventory and grade control. TBC mining enables fast, accurate volume calculations for stockpiles, helping users manage resources efficiently. Ensuring slope conformance is very vital to both safety and regulatory compliance. TBC mining allows users to generate detailed conformance reports to identify and mitigate risks in slope stability. For underground operations, TBC mining offers tools for tunnel and drive creation, inspection, and reporting. This ensures that designs meet safety and operational standards. So one may ask, why do I need to use Trimble Business Center Mining Edition? So let's dive into that. First up, with Trimble Connect and Works Manager, data collected in the field can be analyzed, processed, and sent back directly to field equipment and machines. This seamless feedback loop ensures that crews can work with the most up-to-date data, reducing downtime and improving operational efficiency. Number two, Business Center supports a wide range of survey equipment, UAVs, total stations, scanners, and file formats such as LAS, E57, and CSV. This flexibility ensures that all your data sources, regardless of origin, can be easily imported, integrated, and analyzed. This streamlines the whole mining process and reduces risk of data errors. 3, the software provides fast and efficient data processing and analysis in both 2D and 3D. This capability empowers users to quickly generate actionable outputs. For example, this can help mine operators analyze stockpile volumes or design pit expansions more efficiently. 4, Business Center offers customized reporting tools that cater to the unique needs of different project stakeholders. Whether you need detailed technical reports or high-level summaries, the software has you covered. All stakeholders, from engineers to project managers, get access to the information they need in the format they prefer. And lastly, by combining multiple functionalities into a single platform, Trimble Business Center eliminates the need for multiple software solutions. This not only reduces software costs, but also simplifies training and implementation. This field-to-finish solution offers unparalleled efficiency and value for mining operations. So at this point in the webinar, I'm going to hand over to Loudon, who will take us through some of the workflows. Thanks, Loudon.
Thanks, Cobus. I'm going to request to share real quick.
Yep.
Okay, great. Okay, great. So what we're going to cover today, right, is very much a couple of different workflows. I'm really going to highlight, I'll talk about a little bit more, but I'm going to highlight 3 of these workflows when I go into the live demonstration. But something I definitely want to highlight within TBC is our photogrammetry engine, and that's, you know, a photogrammetry engine that's really been worked on and created to utilize large data sets, right? So you guys are probably familiar with things like maybe Propeller or different types of photogrammetry engines, and while, you know, I think that they're great and they definitely have a place, TBC is meant for very, very large data sets that you want to process fast and with confidence, and to be able to generate those deliverables such as like an LAS file when you get done processing that data. So the photogrammetry module within TBC comes with the TBC Mining Edition. So definitely a highlight there when being able to not only do your drone flights out in the field, bring that in, and then in just a few clicks being able to output your deliverable to then be used in the rest of TBC or to whatever program you'd like to use next. So another one that I won't cover in the actual live demonstration, but I can talk about here is like for as-built generation, using the composite surface tool within TBC to create that progressive TTM, right? So the idea here is that, let's say you have a design file, or you have your initial topo surface, what you can do is use the composite surface tool command within TBC to be able to join two surfaces together and then create that progressive DTM of your mine showing as-built progress that you can then utilize in the future for whether you're doing monthly comparisons or weekly comparisons, or being able to do any volumetrics in between those two surfaces as well. Oh, sorry. So these are the workflows that I'm going to cover within the live demonstration. So we have some basic cut and fill volumetrics, but that compare those two surfaces together and kind of showcase the areas of overbreak or underbreak, right, or material left over or material we've taken away that's too far past design. And then what we're going to be showcasing, so I'm not going to showcase cut and fill because for the sake of time, I really want to showcase, and it sounds like people want to know more about our stockpile volumetrics. So using our extract stockpile tool within TBC Mining Edition, you can automatically extract the boundary of your stockpile, create a surface of the floor, and then create a surface of that stockpile. Compare the two and get a volumetric out of it, right? The next workflow that I'm going to be working on is an end-to-end solution for going from a point cloud and extracting mining break lines or crest and toes from that point cloud, and then turning that into a slope conformance report that'll show you a heat map, which is broken up by cross sections, and each one of those segments of those cross sections will be color coded either red or green, depending on whether it meets your design parameters or it doesn't meet your design parameters. And then the last workflow that I'll be showcasing you today is a new tool that was released in July with the new edition of TBC Mining Edition, new update for it, and that's the design conformance report. And so what this is going to do is it's going to generate a surface showcasing you your areas of overbreak and underbreak, but then it's also going to give you cross sections that show you and produce volumes on how far away you are from design, right? So you can see there in that cross section view, you can see that for this particular bench face, I've left some material behind versus my design, right? And so that's something, or I've gone too far past my design. So that's something that I'll showcase to you guys that I think would help, especially if you're doing finals cleanup with shovels and you want to make sure you're getting all the material left that you can. If you've got surfaces, if you've got topos, or if you've got scans from, let's say, an SX12 to go quickly on the field, scan the high wall, bring that back into here, TBC Mining Edition, generate your report and actually be able to see, between different cross sections, how much volume is actually left there to clean up for that shovel. So I will stop here and then I will share my screen.
Okay, you can go ahead.
Thank you very much. Cobus, can you see that?
I can see your screen, yes.
Great, thank you so much. I will minimize this. So this is the first workflow I will be stepping you guys through, and that is the extract stockpiles workflow. So this data was actually taken with an SX12, and I'll showcase it to you guys in 3 dimensions here. So you can see kind of the different stockpiles we have available. Just some nice small stockpiles. You can see some noise picked up in the background there, but the idea here is that we want to get the volumes of these two or one of these stockpiles right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to navigate to the mines tab, which is right here, which this is blocking for me. One sec, let me move this out of the way. So you can see the mines tab here, which is unlocked when you get TBC Mining Edition. So I'll run through it here just so you can see the different tools available to you. So with the TBC Mining Edition, you get all of these tools as well, all of these different tabs here at the top. And so you can get, for within the mines tab, though, you can have your coordinate system manager, being able to do your site calibrations, your local site settings, some point cloud tools here, such as sampling your region, classifying your regions, extracting ground. And then here are the above ground or open pit or open cut tools. And that's something too, like, my background is in American mining. So if I use some terms that, may not be familiar, right, but they're close enough, maybe Cobus can chime in to make sure that you guys understand what I'm saying. But when it comes to open pit or open cut mines, these are the tools that we think can highlight some of the value there. And so that's going to be the extract mining break lines or crest and toes tool right here, which I'll showcase to you in a separate project in a little bit. But being able to create, new break lines or crest and toes, create a boundary, utilizing some surface tools like the combined surfaces, that cut fill map that we talked about earlier, the extract stockpiles tool, which I'll showcase in a little bit here when I'm done. And then we also have within the mines tab underground tools as well. So these really take into account what we've done with the tunneling capabilities within TBC as well. But as you guys know, creating a tunnel for, let's say, a new rail line underground is very design specific. It has to be perfect, right? So we don't have any problems there. Well, underground mining, as you guys know, don't get me wrong, is definitely not as needs to be as perfect or whatnot when it comes to shoving vehicles through there or whatnot. But we can utilize a lot of those same tools to help our process in underground, right? So whether that's in creating the inspection map here to be able to visualize areas of overbreak and underbreak based on like a rudimentary design, right? So if you're mining your advancements at or drives and drifts at, let's say, 3 meters by 5 meters, you can create that rudimentary design, and then you can take a scan with, like, let's say an SX12 down in your active advancement, and then you can compare in the field actually with Trimble Access, but you can come back to the office as well, use this inspection map tool, and actually see the differences between your design and your actual as-built scan, right? Next is the earthworks report. So being able to get associated volumes between two surfaces or a single surface. And then also here's our conformance ribbon, which I'll showcase to you guys both of these. So we have our mining slope conformance, which I'll showcase. And then we have our mine design conformance, which I'll showcase as well. But starting out here, we wanted to talk about extract stockpiles. And so that's what we're going to do. And so within this tool right here, I'm going to just click on this button. And then what it's going to do is going to open up the command window here. I'll go utilize 2D just so it's a little bit easier. But what this tool does is that it does two things at the beginning. It's going to ask me to extract a new boundary of my stockpile. And how I would go about doing that is I'd make sure that this is selected, extract new boundary. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to pick a point. And what that point is for me is I pick a point, let's say on top of the stockpile, somewhat in the middle. And you can see it kind of generates a bounding box of like the working area of the tool of where it should look to actually extract boundaries. So you can see that, that max size, that max stockpile size here can actually change. You can change the setting to maybe fit the data needs that you have. So if you have a customized size, you can do that here. But if you've got some basic sizes, we can have that as well. As you can see, that bounding box is a little bit too large for the current stockpile that I'm looking at. And so I'm going to shift it down to medium here. And then you can see that the bounding box kind of frames my stockpile very well. If you have existing boundaries, so let's say you guys have either mapped out via survey equipment your existing boundaries of your stockpiles, and you have that available, you can actually select existing boundaries here. So you can create a boundary and then select it, or you can bring it in and select it there as well. So you can see the selected tool here. But what we're going to do here is act like, let's say we've got a new site or we've got a new stockpiles that we want to automatically extract, and then use those boundaries later for, let's say, monthly comparisons. But for now, I'm going to use the pick a point. And so I'm going to create my little point here. This ground flatness threshold, right? So that's just in negotiating the terrain height variation between this value is where it's considered flat, right? So it's going to say, at a 0.1% or 0.1 threshold, I'm going to say, that's a part of a stockpile now and not flatness or the ground. So when I click on the extract stockpile boundary, the tool is going to run very quick, and it's going to automatically extract the boundary of that stockpile. And so you can see there, bang, real quick and easy. We've extracted this stockpile boundary, and I can visualize this in 3D for you guys to see exactly how well that picked that up there. You can see here, we've got this little area over here that it grabbed. But a nice boundary that was extracted here. What I can do then is name that boundary. So if you also want to click on a new location and update the boundary, or click select existing option and create a new boundary button, but we can update that boundary here. Within the stockpile naming tool, we can actually, name our stockpile. So if we, this is mill ore, or if this is some type of ore that you want to classify, you can name the stockpile that way. And then if you want to put that boundary in a different layer within your project, within TBC, you can do that as well. So if you want to put it in the 0 layer, you can, your drawing layer, or if you want to create a new layer saying, all of my stockpile boundaries are within this particular layer, you can add to that as well. But once I'm done, when I'm satisfied with my boundary and I'm satisfied with my name and where it's going to be drawn to, I can click the add button here. And what it's going to do is it's going to throw that stockpile down into my volume calculations bin and table. And then I can go and extract another boundary of a stockpile if I wanted to as well. And so I could keep doing this until I've extracted all of the boundaries or selected all of the existing boundaries that I have on my mine site or wherever I'm at. I'll showcase what's included in this volume calculation screen right here. So you've got my stockpile name. We're going to calculate a base area. We're going to calculate the slope area, and we're going to calculate the volume, and then also the date at which it was ran, the tool or the calculation was done. If you guys have a floor surface that was like, let's say, surveyed in before the stockpile was started or created, what you can do is actually the tool is going to generate a floor surface based on like a perceived floor with the boundary. But what you can do is you can click this new button, and then you can actually select or add your existing boundary if you have that, or existing surface to use as that initial surface that'll be using the calculations with. So you don't necessarily have to use the tool's generated surface. If you have your own surface of where where flat or ground is, or the initial topo, you can use that as well. And you can see here that we've got a little tip saying it's most efficient to calculate volumes after extracting all the boundaries. So if you've got 200 stockpiles or 100 stockpiles that you're extracting, once you get done adding all those to the table, then you can click the calculate volumes button, which I will do here. So you can see here the tool progress bar running in the bottom. When that's completed, it'll update these numbers here, and then it'll actually generate the surfaces so I can view them as well. So once this is done, you can see here I've got a nice text field and with my volumetrics as well. So I've got mill ore at 5,173.7 meters cubed of volume. And then if I do go into, just so I can show you guys this, when it comes to the actual how the surface looks after it's generated. So if I turn off the scan, you can see the surface here. It's a pretty nice and clean surface that was generated. And then you can see if I turn off the final, you can see the floor surface that was generated from it as well, right? So you can see the stockpile surface that's generated on the top, the floor that's generated on the tool if it's not assigned a surface to use. And then the comparison is the volume is the comparison between the two. So after that's done, what you can do then is you can actually create a report. So you can export this out as a CSV right here using this button, or you can click this create report button, which will open up a reporting tab within TBC. And once this loads, it just creates a very default report with your project file, your TBC project metadata here, your coordinate system metadata, and then just a very basic design or basic report when it comes to exactly what's in that volume calculations table down here, right? So we've got our name, base area, slope, area, volume, date, and then which surfaces were used to actually generate that these volume metrics. If you would like to, you can save this report, you can print it right here, or you can save this report as an Excel file, a PDF, or a Word document as well to be sent out to your respective stakeholders that need to know this information. So that's actually it for the extract stockpile boundaries tool. So you can see here, it's pretty easy to use. Highly recommend if you guys are doing boundary or you guys are doing stockpile extractions to utilize this tool if you have TBC or want to upgrade to TBC Mining Edition to quickly generate those boundaries, quickly generate volumetrics, and then send that off to your stakeholders as needed. Great. So I'm going to move on to the next workflow that I'll be showcasing, which is the slope conformance report, or the slope conformance workflow for generating those heat maps that I showcased in the presentation earlier of the red and green areas, right? So in conformance is green, out of conformance is red. So you can see here, I've got a nice point cloud of a quarry or a mine that I'm going to be using to interrogate some of these slopes, or to investigate some of these slopes on if they're in on my conformance or not. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to navigate to our mines tab again. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use this extract mining break lines, extract mining crest and toes tool here. So what we're going to do is It really only needs 4 things. It's just going to need a point cloud region. So obviously my point cloud here.
Yeah.
And then I've got my boundary as well. So what the tool can do is we can actually restrict it to a specific boundary area. So if we want to utilize the tool for the entire pit that we're working on, we can do that. But if we would only want to work on a subsection of the pit, so let's say this particular area or a particular area that you would like to extract those crest and toes from, you can actually bound the tool, right? You can make the tool only work in a certain area by just generating a boundary right here using this tool. For me, I wanted to see the entire pit. And so what I did is I generated a boundary that just encompasses the entire pit, just so I can get all of the crest and toes from this particular point cloud. So you can select that boundary here to actually to find your working area. If you would like to, when the extraction happens and you get your crest and toes, you can utilize that just like in the stockpile boundary. You can send it to a different layer, right? So if you want to create a break lines layer, or crest and toes layer, or send it to your drawing layer, which is 0, you can do that and define that as well. Okay, so how the tool works is it uses this max angle. And what this is going to do is, it's going to determine the break between your catch bench or the berm and your bench face. So the idea here, right, is that we've got our catch bench, which is the flat area, and we've got our bench face, which is the angled part of our slope, right? And so what's going to happen there is that we want to figure out what the angle is between that catch bench and the bench face. And so there's actually a quick and easy way you can do to at least get you in a ballpark, is by highlighting the numbers here. You can actually click on the bottom of your pit. So like right here on this haul road. And then you can see it starts dragging a line, and I can go to the top of my pit and it'll actually automatically calculate an angle for you. Now this is a caveat of, like, this isn't the perfect angle, right? What I would say is that this is very much like a reiterative tool when it comes to extracting this. If you guys know the design angle of this particular, your bench face angle, what the design angle is supposed to be, that might help you with extracting the best crest and toes. But if you want to get just an angle that's calculated from the tool, you can click on the bottom, click on the top, and it'll calculate that angle for you. So I've ran this before, so I'm not going to sit here and have everybody sit here and watch it extract and the tool to run. And so I'm not going to run it, but I will showcase to you guys what it looks like after the tool is run. So I've got it located here. I'm actually going to go to dark mode because it's easier to see the white break lines than the black ones. And so you can see here, and I'll showcase this in 3D as well, but it's actually gone ahead and extracted those crest and toes and created polygons or polylines on those slopes. So you can see here, it's done it all over my pit and extracted those different benches for me automatically. And you can see here, I'll go to 3D view just so you can see how well it did. So you can all rotate around. You can see my different benches, and you can see the crest and toes of the particular bench as well. Great. So after we've extracted the break lines, something we want to do is we actually want to create a surface from those break lines. So, you could think of it as creating my as-built surface, right? So if after I've used the tool and extracted all the crests and toes around my pit, I can now create my as-built surface to then be used going forward. And so what we're going to do here is we can use this create surface tool right here. So if this is my drone flight that I flew today and extracted all my crests and toes. You can define a name for your surface. You can classify your surface, and then what I would do is I'll get rid of this pit boundary here. I'll get rid of the scan. I'm going to select all of my break lines and then my crests and toes, and then from here you can see the members to form the surface. I would hit OK and run. But I've already done that for you today. And so you can see here, I'll get rid of these. You can see here, this is the surface that's generated from those break lines. So something that I would, recommend doing. I know it's possible to create surfaces from point clouds, but especially if your point clouds are very noisy or you have a lot of like peaks when it comes to creating surfaces from point clouds, I feel that creating surfaces from as-built or from these crest and toe lines does a pretty good job of removing and eliminating a lot of those peaks that you might have from the noise in the data. So just showcasing that to you guys here, because we're going to need that surface when we go to the next step, which is our mining slope conformance report right here. So I'll open this up a little bit. And I think we have a question. Raise their hand.
Isa, you can go ahead.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
Thank you so much. Loden, I just wanted to find out when that auto, because that function look like an auto break line extraction, is it?
Yep.
For the toes and crest?
Yes. Yep. So the extract mining break lines, I would say it's, it is like automatic when, like, let's say you run the tool. So if I showcased earlier, you select your point cloud region, you'll create a boundary, whether you want to do the whole pit or a subsection of your pit, and then put them in a layer, determine your max angle. And then when you hit apply, it'll automatically extract all of those crests and toes for you from the point cloud.
That is actually beautiful because I know I did a recommendation in one of your webinars before, or Optron's webinar, Trimble webinars before. But then the only concern now is that when I'm looking at your layers, it doesn't specify. Let's say if you want to click on one of those lines, I think it would be a good guidance if you could indicate now, if you select one of the break lines, if it's a crest or is it a toe. But I see it's rather creating polygons. So is there a way to fine tune that to maybe let the toe be a toe and the crest be a crest?
Yeah, we can, that's great feedback. I think, with the initial kind of, version 1 of the tool, the idea here is that we wanted to generate these polylines that kind of encompass that. Basically what we're doing here is encompassing that, that catch bench area, which features one toe and one crest. But the toe and the crest are on the same level, right? But just the idea here is that it's used to at least create that polygon to give you the ability to view that. But that's great feedback, and that's something that I've heard before, is being able to split them out into two different layers, if you would like, right? So you have your toes and your crests. So that's good feedback. I'll take that into account, right? So, but currently with the version 1, right, we just have the ability to create kind of the combined polygon, so to speak.
All right. No, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye.
Good question. Great. So I'll keep moving on here. And so what we're going to do is, so I've got my my point cloud here, and I've got my crests and toes extracted. And what I clicked on here was our mining slope conformance report. So if you guys are doing, high wall conformance checks when it comes to, making sure we mine to design, making sure we're mining at the right angle, things like that, This tool actually utilizes these break lines to verify that we're actually doing that, right? So something that we have is we've got a default report template, and then we've got our as-built mine surface model. And so that's where I just generated that, right? So if we've got that surface that I generated from those break lines that I extracted, so those toes and crests, and so from there I can create that surface, which is right here, just so I can showcase to you guys again. So that surface right there. And so it'll automatically grab that surface for me, or you can change it to a different surface if you'd like. And what we're going to do here is this tool, with the extract mining break lines tool, like I said, you could use it on the entire pit if you would like, right? But the mining slope conformance report, we really want to restrict down to a specific area, right? And not do the entire pit, because I know when I worked in mining, we had different, geological domains and different geotechnical constraints that were mining to different design parameters in different areas of the pit, right? Maybe on the right side of the pit or the west side of the pit, we have more competent rock, and so we can mine it a little bit steeper. But then on the east side of the pit, we've got less competent rock, so we have to mine it a little bit differently, right? So that's something that we want to take into account here, is by really locating and honing in on where we will use this tool. So what I've done is I'm concerned, or I want to look at this particular area right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually have this like slope regions layer where I've created a boundary of the particular area I want to investigate. So you can see here, I created this just square, and I'm going to select that as a boundary. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the break lines that are included within that boundary. So you can see here, I'm highlighting all those there. And then we also want to give it a cross-section path. The idea here is that we're going to generate cross sections that are perpendicular to this path line that's right here, to help guide our tool into where to create those cross sections. So I've kind of created a line that goes outside of the box and to the other side of the box. And the idea here is that it's going to generate these cross sections perpendicular to the slope or the angle of this line. So you can see here, grab that. And then the cross section interval is, how often do I want these cross sections? Do I want them every 50 meters? When I was working, we had all of our site on a grid, right? In imperial units, we used like 100 feet, which would be like 33 or 30 meters. And so if you guys do that, if you guys have cross sections that are meant to be on like a certain grid spacing, you can use that interval process here. So I'm just going to keep it at 50 because I feel like that does a pretty good job of getting enough cross sections to view. Another thing too is that this, when we come down here, this is where we're actually going to determine if that box becomes green, which is in conformance, or red, which is out of conformance. So we've got our design parameters here, right? So design bench heights, design bench face angles, design catch bench widths, and then design pit slope angle. And then we've also got our tolerances down here. We know mining isn't perfect. We try to be, but we know it's never going to be exactly to design. So we have the ability to set tolerances here. So, if I'm mining to a design bench height of 10 meters, how much leeway am I going to give that bench height, right? Is it going to be 3 meters? Is it going to be 1 meter? Something along those lines. And it's the same thing with the angles, and then the width of the catch bench as well. And so I'm just going to run this on default settings. So you guys, this isn't going to be, exactly what yours is going to look like, right? When you would run this tool, but I'm just going to run it on default settings so you can see the report and the surface that's generated from it. So I'll click OK. I just clicked OK here at the bottom. And what it's going to do, and Cobus, just because it popped up, can you see my screen, this Word document report?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, great. Thank you. So the mining slope conformance report generates, once the tool command is run, it actually generates this Word document here that showcases, what you did when you ran the tool. So it gives you an overview, as well as you can see these cross sections labeled here. And then you can see the different segments and the overall heat map that we have for the different segments of our slope. You can see our design parameters that we set here, as well as the color legend for tolerances. So because my design bench face angle was 60 degrees and I allowed it to have a 5-degree tolerance, you can see my degree, within the green would be 55 to 65. And then keep going with the rest of our different parameters here. We've actually got a nice little cross-section legend here that showcases in the report. So you can see here exactly everything that we're measuring. So we've got our catch bench widths, we've got our bench heights, we've got our bench face angles, and then we've got our overall pit slope angle. The next thing it's going to do is break all of these different segments into a table showcasing the average bench face height, average bench height, or bench face angle, average bench height, and then average catch bench width. And then it's going to showcase the different cross sections as well. So you can see here, the segment number 1 is going to be this bench face, and then this catch bench. Segment 2 and this particular cross section is going to be this bench face, this catch bench, and then keep going on, right? 3 is going to be this one, 4 is this one, and this one, and then keep on going. And then you can see here the associated data that's calculated from each one of those segments within the cross section as well. And then letting you know if it's red or green. So you can see here the different cross sections that I generated with the different tables and information. And then if you wanted overall statistics on the of all of your data, you can see here we've got a couple of histograms at the bottom that showcase where your data falls within against each other. So I'll get rid of that, and then you can see here real quickly, it actually generates a surface for you to view in TBC as well. So if I go to 3D and then look at this surface here, you can see the different segments. You can see what is green, what is red, what is in conformance, what is out of conformance. Like I said, I ran it on default settings, so obviously none of this, none of it, but some of it is not true when it comes to the actual design parameters of what this mine needed to be at. But you can see the nice heat map that's generated to utilize for your stakeholders, such as your geotech teams, or for as mine survey, you can give them this deliverable to showcase to mine operations where we're in and out of conformance based on our design parameters. So great. And then real quick here, because I do want to have time for kind of some discussion questions if possible, I'm going to run through the design conformance report. So this one's pretty easy as well. So I'll navigate to the mines tab, and then I don't need to do any pre-work. All I need to have available to me is a as-built surface and then a design surface. So as long as you've got those two things, then you're able to utilize this tool. So you can see here, so I clicked on this button right here, Mining Design Conformance Report. So within this template, we've got a report template, my mine surface models. I've got my pit design right here. I've got my as-built right here. And just like the other tool, we're going to kind of bound this to a specific area to generate those cross sections. I'm actually going to go to dark mode as well, just so maybe you guys can see a little bit better. I'll move some of this stuff in so you can see the window better as well. So I've got my mine here. I'll kind of showcase the different surfaces as well. So I'll get rid of all these CAD drawing lines right here. But you can see, I'll go to 3D view. So this is my design. So this is my pit design right here. And then I'll showcase the as-built surface right here. So if I navigate to the same view, you can see my pit design is underneath my as-built surface there. So you can see it, I'm toggling it on and off. And so what I'm going to do in plan view is I'm actually going to, sorry, I need one of those. There we go. I'm going to generate that cross-section path again, just like in the other tool. This time I'm actually going to create it from scratch. So I'm just going to use the CAD tools here, polyline, and then I'm going to, and I'll just turn on my 0 layer so you can see me draw. Grab my point. I want to investigate this area so this part of the haul road, as well as this area down here in the bottom of the pit. Oops, that's not where I want my point. Redo that. So I want to showcase where this is going to be. So I want to be right here. And I'm just going to create a cross-section path for me that's right there. And that's, as I said, I created this line on my own. If you guys already have cross-section lines available to you, you can utilize those as well. So I created my cross-section path. The next I want to do is my boundary. So I can go here and use the create boundary button. Something that I like to do too is go to CAD and do a rectangle, since I know for this, it's nice and easy to do just a nice rectangle of my working area. So right here, let's say. And actually, I want to make this better. Make this more encompassing of a rectangle. There we go. Great. So that's my working area that I'm going to be using for this tool. So let me go back to the design conformance. So select my cross-section path, select my boundary. Cross-section interval we just talked about, right? So this project is in imperial, it's in feet. So I'm gonna use every 100 feet. And then this delta interval is whenever you would like a measurement, how often would you like a measurement in the cross-section, right? So if you wanted every 10 meters, you want to see the distance between your as-built line and your design surface, as-built surface and your design surface, you could do that. But for me, I'm going to do every 25 feet or every 12 meters. You can put, if you would like, we actually extract those cross sections for the design and for the as-built, and so you can send those to different layers if you would like as well. And then you can see our color coding here. So overdig, or material I've taken away past design, is going to be blue. Underdig, which is material I've left to design, right? Material left over is going to be red, and then within tolerance, it's going to be green. And then the tool will run down here in the bottom, and it'll generate a Word document report, just like with the slope conformance report. And so you can see here, I've got my my overview map of where my cross sections are, as well as the surface that's generated, and whether they're color coded within tolerance, overdig, underdig, in those specific areas. You can see here it's got some standard kind of information for me. So I've got my surfaces that I use, I've got my cross section interval. I've also got the volumes based on the geometry of the overdig material and the underdig material, and then I've got areas as well, and then the time date stamp when I ran this report. So you can see here, actually, within the cross sections, you can see the difference. So red is going to be my as-built surface, or my as-built line, and then my blue is going to be my design line, right, or my design surface. And you can see the different areas of where I've calculated differences here of, I've got this material left over here, I've got this material left over here, this material left over. We've gone in this particular area right here, looks like we actually mined over design, right, a little bit. And then we've got this particular bench that we haven't reached yet down here at the bottom. But you can see here, it's going to give you the length of your cross section. It's going to give you the approximate overdig and underdig area, as well as the volume as well. And then you can see here, as we go down through the different cross sections, where what those different lines look like. So you can see here, we've got some material left over right here, material here, and whatnot. But this is a really quick and easy way to be able to view, how far you have left to, let's say, shovel, finals cleanup, how much material is left over between your different cross-section units. So your shovel can make sure that he or she is mining to their design as much as possible. So what that will also do as well is, lastly, it'll actually create a surface for you. So if I visualize the surface in 3D, you can see that's the green and blue, the colorized rainbow surface is kind of my my design surface. And anything that's showing in red right now is underdig. So you can see it's material left over from that we should have taken versus design. And then if I go underneath, you can see all of the areas in blue are overdig, right? Areas that we've mined past design. And so it generates this surface for you to be able to use and being able to showcase particular areas of the pit where we've left material behind, or we've taken too much material. And then this is it showcasing it in 3D. But great. Yeah, so that's it for the live demonstration of workflows. I will go to the end of my presentation right here. And you can see, so TBC mining, as you guys and what Kobus talked about earlier, really three things that come out of it. So the ability to reduce training and software costs, right? We're really trying with TBC mining to take a lot of the different workflows that you guys might do throughout multiple different software and, keep it within one, which is TBC Mining Edition. Being able to increase productivity and reduce delivery times, right? I know I got a question about extracting those crest and toes. If you guys are manually extracting crest and toes, at least now you have the ability to automatically extract those from point cloud and then have them in one polyline or polygon. But that breaks up a lot of work when it comes to manually extracting those as well. And then obviously all of the reporting and generating all the reports and surfaces that we saw really enhance the ability to give that data and give those reports over to stakeholders on site that might need it. And then Tessa, I see you had another question.
Yeah, while Tessa's asking the question, I'll just switch back to my slides later.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yes, Lovan, I just wanted to find out, so this, how do you call it? The mine module, is it only available on which Trimble version is it? Is it on the latest one or where does it start?
Yes, so the Trimble Business Center Mining Edition is available right now. It's a subscription only, so it's only subscription. And when you get a subscription of TBC Mining Edition, you unlock all of those tabs in the top of TBC, right? So that's something that I'd say is if you want to upgrade your license from whatever it is to TBC Mining Edition, I definitely feel free to reach out to Kobus and the Optron team to talk about different ways of doing that. And yes, I just saw a question pop up for a trial version. If you guys actually, and I can post the link in the chat, so bear with me a second while I go and find that. There is a 30-day free trial of TBC Mining Edition available on the TBC trial website page. And so what I'll do is I'm navigating to that right now, and I will get you that link, and I'll post it in the chat for you guys to be able to get that 30-day free trial. So it should be right here.
Yeah, awesome.
Yep.
Thank you. But the reason I'm asking is because currently we are running it, of course, on a 5.4 version. I know we are very much well behind, but I'm also trying just to find ways to, how do you call it, to justify or encourage, that we actually upgrade our current TBC license as well as the version of the TBC that we're running on, because we're running at 5.4. So
Yep.
that's what I'm asking. So because currently being at 5.4 with an active paid up license, will this functionality of the mine module be available on the 5.4? Like if I have to now trial out the version, yeah.
Yeah, I would say no. It's available for like the most, because it's a subscription, right? And you correct me if I'm wrong, but with the subscription license, I believe it might not be required, but I know it's easier to make sure that your license, the version of TBC you're running is up to date. So what I would say is that, I'll verify with my team and the TBC team of what version, if it always has to be the most active version to run TBC Mining Edition. I don't believe so. But I know that this Mining Edition did come out and the tools came out for Mining Edition. Not this past release, but the release before that. So the last dimensions, so November of 2024. And so, if you're a version before that, I know for a fact that it probably won't work. But version, 2024, for when we release the actual module and the tools, I know from then on it'll be supported.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and then I posted in the chat link there, as you guys can see, the link for a TBC trial download. So there is the mining edition that you would select on the drop down menu. So make sure you select that one to get all of the functionality that I showcased here today. But as you can see, with all the different tools that we have available, and we're constantly working on new tools, especially based on feedback that we hear. We're trying to make TBC Mining Edition really meant for mine surveyors that already existingly have TBC, and what are some more mining specific tools that we can help with, right? So I know we're coming close on time, so I apologize for not being able to have a great discussion with you guys on some of these questions. But if you guys do have any questions or any concerns, feel free to reach out to Cobus. Cobus also has my email. I will post my email here in the chat as well. So just in case you guys have any questions, feel free to CC Cobus, send them to me, or send them to Cobus, CC myself, however you guys like to do it. But always willing to engage in conversations regarding feedback, or questions, concerns, comments that you guys have about the particular hardware or software when it comes to mining specifically. So but thank you guys. I appreciate the discussion. I appreciate the questions, and thank you for your time to see what we have in store for TBC Mining Edition.
Thanks, Adam. That was very informative for me, especially the stockpile extraction. I remember still from site what a pain it used to be to extract stockpiles and do volumes. Thank you for everybody that attended today. Thanks for your time. You're welcome to scan the QR code on the screen right now, and you can save my contact details. As Loudon said, if you need any more information, you're welcome to contact us. I can put you in touch with him, or I can put you in touch with your regional sales manager. And then please also keep an eye on our social media pages, which we'll display just now, for any news, for any upcoming Optron Geospatial webinars. Thank you very much.
And then Cobus, there's a question here on sharing the presentation. If that will be sent out. It's fine on my end.
Yeah, we will share a recording afterwards. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye. Bye.
Goodbye.
This was
Thanks,
beautiful.
bye.
Thank you.
Okay, good.
Cheers.
Good.
Bye.
Goodbye.